There comes a time in a man's life, usually after 40, sometimes after 50, when he wakes up and realizes something he's been avoiding for years. Life didn't break him. It shaped him. Not in dramatic ways, but in the smallest moments. The early mornings he pushed through, the responsibilities he carried quietly, the disappointments he never talked about, and the victories no one celebrated but him. And one day in the middle of an ordinary morning, coffee warm in your hand, your home still, your body a little slower but your mind sharper, you feel something click. Not fear, not regret, just clarity. You don't get this kind of clarity when you're young. It arrives only after you've lived enough life to earn a quieter kind of honesty. You start seeing your life the way older men do, without the noise, without the pretending, without the pressure to impress anyone. It's the moment you finally understand that age doesn't weaken a man. It filters him. You don't react the way you used to. You don't chase the things you once chased. You don't feel the need to explain yourself to anyone who hasn't lived what you've lived. That's not distance. That's maturity. And here's the part no one tells younger men. Clarity doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives with honesty. The honesty that says, I don't have unlimited time anymore, so whatever I give my time to must matter. I don't need to win every battle. I just need to protect my peace. I'm not slowing down. I'm becoming selective. This is the shift that turns a man's second chapter into his strongest one. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you finally know what's worth carrying forward and what's not. Take a breath here. See if this moment feels familiar in your own story. Think about your own life for a second. How many years did you spend proving yourself? How many times did you stay strong when no one noticed? How many moments did you push through even when you were tired down to your bones? That's not weakness. That's discipline. That's loyalty. That's the kind of strength younger men won't understand until they've lived enough years to earn it. And this clarity, this quiet sharpening, is what reveals 7 truths older men learn too late. Truths that don't come from quotes or books, but from life hitting you, teaching you, refining you. If you're here, listening, you've probably felt one of those truths rising inside you already. So let's walk into them, slowly, honestly, without rushing. Not as a lecture, not as philosophy, but as the real experience of a man who's lived long enough to hear what life has been trying to say all along. Chasing happiness never worked. Younger men spend years running toward a version of happiness they were told to chase. A better title, a bigger paycheck, a relationship that looks right on the outside, the next milestone, the next upgrade, the next moment that's supposed to finally make everything feel complete. But here's what a man learns only after he's lived enough life. Happiness isn't something you catch, it's something you stop running past. There's always a moment, sometimes at 40, sometimes at 60, where you look around and realize you've collected achievements, responsibilities, even relationships, but not the feeling you expected to come with them. You're not empty, you're just misaligned. I once heard a man in his 50s say, I wasn't unhappy. I was living a life that wasn't actually built for me. That's an aha moment many men never say out loud. You've carried more years, more weight, and more responsibility than most people will ever understand. And you're still here, steadier, wiser, and stronger than you give yourself credit for. Because no one teaches men this truth, here's a softer truth that hits surprisingly deep. The older you get, the more you realize happiness isn't loud. Peace is, you can be successful and disconnected, productive and unfulfilled, surrounded and still feel alone in your own decisions. And most of the time, it's not because something is wrong with your life. It's because your life drifted away from who you really are. Take a second and sit with this. See if it feels true in your own life. Here's the part that hits harder after 50. Happiness doesn't come from achieving more. It comes from subtracting what drains you. A job that pays well but empties your spirit. A habit that takes your energy but gives nothing back. A routine that keeps you busy but never truly alive. A relationship where you shrink instead of grow. Men spend half their lives adding. The second half is about refining. And once you feel that shift, everything changes. You start caring less about being impressive and more about being honest. Less about collecting moments that look good and more about choosing moments that feel good. Less about pleasing crowds and more about protecting your peace. That's maturity. Not the quiet kind people joke about. The real kind that comes from carrying enough years to know the difference. And here's the practical truth older men understand deeply. Happiness is not an emotion, it's a direction. When your choices match your values, when your work reflects your nature, when your relationships honor who you are, your life stops resisting you. You stop asking, what will make me happy? And start asking, what feels true? Those are two very different questions. One is about chasing. The other is about living. And the moment a man shifts from chasing to choosing, his entire life recalibrates. The restlessness fades. The urgency quiets. The pressure dissolves. Not because life becomes easier, but because you are finally living in a way that matches the man you've grown into. If this chapter made something inside you nod, even a little, take it as a sign. You're not chasing anymore. You're aligning. And alignment is the doorway to the kind of happiness that stays. If any part of this first truth sounded like it was taken from your own life, tap like so I know I'm speaking to the right men, and tell me which part of your story it echoed. If you don't choose your life, life chooses for you. Most men assume they're steering their own life, until one day they look back and realize they've mostly been reacting, not choosing. It happens quietly. One yes you didn't really mean. One habit you kept because it was convenient. One responsibility you accepted because no one else stepped up, and slowly your life becomes something you never consciously designed. This isn't failure. It's how men are conditioned to survive. But somewhere after 40 or 50, a man begins to feel it. The weight of a life shaped more by momentum than intention. Take a moment and look at your own timeline. How many chapters were built from deliberate decisions? And how many were built from simply dealing with whatever showed up? That realization is uncomfortable, but it's also freeing. Because the truth is simple and sharp. If you don't choose your life will choose for you, and it won't ask whether the choice fits you or not. I once met a man who worked the same job for 37 years. Not because he loved it, not because it fulfilled him, but because, in his words, I just kept moving in the direction I started, even after it stopped feeling like mine. That's a story thousands of men quietly carry. You've carried more responsibility and pressure than most people realize. And that lived experience has given you a calm strength many never grow into. Here's the part younger men don't understand yet. Life doesn't trap you. Your routines do. And the older you get, the more precious your energy becomes. You realize you can't afford to live accidentally anymore. Pause here and ask yourself, what parts of my life did I actually choose? And what parts simply happened to me? This question alone can change a man's direction, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing what drains you. You start recognizing what no longer matches the man you're becoming. You start feeling the difference between responsibility and obligation. And here's the empowering shift older men discover. Your life doesn't change because of one big decision. It changes the moment you start choosing on purpose, choosing who you spend time with, choosing which conversations matter, choosing the habits that pull you forward and the habits that quietly pull you down, choosing the version of yourself you want, leading the next chapter. This isn't about starting over. It's about stepping back into ownership of your life. And the moment a man does that, even in one small area, everything starts to realign. You feel lighter, clearer, more present in your own decisions, more connected to your own direction, less reactive to what the world throws at you. You're not drifting anymore. You're steering. And that subtle shift from drifting to choosing is what separates a life you happen to live from a life that finally feels like it's yours. Your boundaries get clearer, not softer. People assume older men become more patient, more tolerant, more forgiving. And sure, age does soften a man in the right places. You react less. You choose your battles. You understand things you once took personally. But here's the real shift most men never talk about. You don't become softer with age. You become clearer. Clearer about what you can hold. Clearer about what drains you. Clearer about who respects you and who simply uses your willingness to endure. In your 20s, you think you can fix everything. Fix people, fix situations, fix dysfunction. You didn't create. Patience feels like virtue, even when it quietly burns you out. But after enough years, something changes. You stop confusing endurance with loyalty. You stop mistaking self-sacrifice for strength. You stop offering explanations to people who never tried to understand you in the first place. Take a second and think about this. It might hit closer than you expect. Every man reaches a moment when he realizes this simple truth. If something constantly costs your peace, it's already too expensive. I once heard a man in his 50s say, "I used to stay in rooms that drained me because I thought leaving made me weak, but staying only made me disappear." That line stays with you. By the time a man reaches your stage of life, he's earned the right to protect his peace, not apologize for it. That's the privilege of a seasoned man, not a flaw, because age teaches you something liberating. You don't cut people off. You simply stop carrying what was never yours. You stop responding to conversations that feel like arguments in disguise. You stop entertaining relationships where you're only valued when you're useful. You stop matching energy with people who never meet you halfway. And none of this is bitterness. It's clarity. The kind that comes only after you've given years of yourself to the wrong places. The older you get, the more your time becomes sacred. Not because you fear running out, but because you finally understand its value. You'd rather spend it building something real than repairing something that was breaking long before you arrived. Here's the quiet power men gain with age. You become unavailable to anything that pulls you away from the man you're becoming. Not angry, not distant, just selective. And with that selectiveness comes a surprising feeling. Lightness. Your mind clears, your pace steadies, your days feel less noisy, more yours. This isn't about shutting people out. It's about honoring the version of yourself you fought hard to grow into. So if your boundaries feel stronger now, if your tolerance feels lower, if your peace feels non-negotiable, don't apologize for it. It doesn't mean you've grown cold. It means you've grown accurate. And accurate men live better, love deeper, and carry themselves with a steadiness younger men won't understand until they get here. You outgrow people, place, and versions of yourself. There's a kind of change that doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't break anything. It simply arrives quietly in the way mornings get brighter without you noticing. And one day you wake up and realize something honest. You've outgrown parts of your life that once felt essential. That doesn't make you lost. It makes you advanced. Men who continue to grow instead of staying who they were are rare. And you're one of them. This isn't loss. It's growth, the kind you don't recognize until you look back and see how far you've traveled. Start with people. There are friendships that felt unshakable in your 20s, but now the conversations feel thin, the energy mismatched, the connection different. Not bad, just not aligned anymore. Age teaches you this truth. People don't have to hurt you to outgrow your life. Sometimes they simply stop growing in the same direction. Then there are places. A neighborhood that once felt exciting now feels loud. A workplace that once gave you purpose now feels like someone else's story. Even your own home can shift, holding memories you have already moved past. Pause for a second and see if this feels familiar. But the deepest outgrowing happens internally. You begin letting go of older versions of yourself. The version who needed approval, the version who stayed quiet to keep the peace, the version who tolerated things because he hadn't learned to protect his energy yet. You don't shame those versions. They helped you survive. But they're no longer the man you are now. Older men understand this better than anyone. Growth isn't about becoming more. It's about becoming true. True to your values, true to your energy, true to the life you actually want to live, not the life you inherited from pressure or expectation. And the more aligned you become, the calmer you move through the world. You stop forcing conversations that no longer go anywhere. You stop revisiting memories you've already healed. You stop trying to prove yourself to people who only knew an outdated version of you. That's not distance. That's evolution. But here's the empowering part. When you outgrow something, you create space for something that fits the man you're becoming. New people who understand your pace, new routines that support your energy, new priorities that match the clarity you've earned, new versions of yourself that feel lighter, steadier, more intentional. And for the first time in a long time, you don't feel guilty for choosing what aligns. You feel relieved. Because you finally understand that not everything is meant to stay, and not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. What matters is this: the man you are now is allowed to choose what belongs in his life and what doesn't. If this felt like someone finally putting your experience into words, subscribe. This space was built for men who choose growth over noise. And when you honor that truth, life gets cleaner, quieter, and more peaceful. In a way younger men won't understand until they get here. Time becomes real. When you're young, time feels like something you can negotiate with. You spend it freely. You waste it carelessly. You assume there will always be more of it waiting on the other side of your choices. But somewhere after 40 or 50, something shifts. Not suddenly, quietly. You start noticing time in ways you didn't before. You catch yourself looking at an old photo and thinking, how was that 20 years ago? It feels like last spring. You see a friend you haven't spoken to in months, and it hits you how easily life spreads people apart. You wake up and your body has a stiffness that wasn't there last year. A reminder that nothing stays the same, not even you. And slowly something becomes undeniable. Time isn't unlimited. It's personal. But the fact that you're thinking about time this way now means you're already ahead of most men your age. You're awake to what your years are really worth. Take a moment here. Let this settle for a second. You realize the years aren't moving faster. You're just more aware of how precious each one is. You understand that a casual maybe next week can easily turn into 3 months gone. You see how quickly holidays stack, how birthdays repeat, how faces you expected to see forever begin to fade from your life. That's not sadness, that's awareness. The kind men earn only by living long enough to feel the weight of their memories. But here's the truth, older men understand better than anyone. A man doesn't run out of time, he runs out of the chances he keeps postponing, the project you said you'd start someday, the conversation you meant to have but pushed aside, the friend you thought you'd visit, the habit you promised to fix, the dream that still pulls at you even now. Most of the things that matter don't require youth, they require intention. And once this realization hits, your relationship with time changes completely. You don't rush, you don't panic, you simply become deliberate. You give your attention to the people who matter, not the ones who drain you. You take care of your body because you finally understand it's the vehicle for the years you still have left. You stop wasting days being angry over things that don't deserve your energy. You say yes slower, not because you're closed, but because you finally understand the bulk, and something beautiful happens. Time becomes richer. A short call with someone you care about means more than hours spent in the wrong room. A slow morning feels valuable instead of lazy. A simple walk becomes a gift instead of a chore. Moments stop slipping by. You start living them. This is the clarity age gives a man. The point was never to have more time. The point was to use the time you have with meaning. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to fix your whole life at once. You just need to stop postponing the things you already know matter. Because when time becomes real, your life does too. And the years ahead, the ones you still get to live, can be the years that finally match the man you have become. Your body remembers everything you ignore. When you're young, your body forgives you. Late nights, skipped meals, stress you never dealt with. You wake up the next day and keep going like nothing happened. But as the years add up, something becomes clear. A man who has carried his body through decades of work, stress, and responsibility hasn't failed it. He's proven his resilience. And that resilience is exactly why his body is still willing to respond when he starts caring for it. Your body doesn't punish you. It simply remembers. Not in dramatic ways, just in small, honest signals. A stiffness when you stand up, a slower recovery after a long week, a dip in energy that used to bounce back overnight. These aren't warnings, they're conversations. Your body trying to tell you what your mind ignored for years. Take a moment and think about this. Most men spend decades pushing themselves harder than necessary. We muscle through stress, hold emotions in our chest, skip rest because there's too much to do, and carry responsibilities long after our strength has faded for the day. Your body records the emotions you never spoke about. Sometimes the tightness in your shoulders or the weight in your lower back is simply the burden of responsibilities you carried alone. But here's the truth older men eventually understand. Your body wants to support you, but it needs your partnership now. Partnership doesn't mean extreme discipline or impossible routines. It means the simple things. A 20-minute walk that clears your mind as much as your lungs. A night of real sleep instead of pushing through fatigue. A meal that gives you energy instead of stealing it. Moments of stillness where your breathing settles and your thoughts stop racing. Choosing movement over perfection, consistency over intensity. These small choices feel subtle, but the older you get, the more powerful they become. I once heard a man in his late 50s say, I didn't start taking care of myself to live longer. I started because I wanted the years I have left to feel good. That's wisdom earned the hard way. The truth is, your body has carried you through everything, every season, every challenge. every responsibility you never complained about. It held you together when your mind was tired and kept moving even when your heart was heavy. It deserves a little partnership now. And the beautiful thing is, the body responds quickly, faster than most men expect. When you give it rest, it thanks you. When you give it movement, it strengthens. When you feed it well, it steadies. When you slow down, it recalibrates. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about supporting the man you've grown into, a man who values clarity, strength, and presence more than appearance. Because the better your body feels, the fuller your life becomes. Your patience increases. Your thoughts sharpen. Your days stop feeling heavy. You show up better for the people you care about. You enjoy the moments you used to rush through, and that's the quiet gift of this chapter in a man's life. You start treating yourself like someone worth taking care of, not out of fear, but out of respect. The same respect you've given to everyone else for years. The people you love are the only thing that truly matters. There comes a point in a man's life, usually later than he expects, when he realizes something honest. Most of what he chased didn't matter as much as he thought, and most of what mattered did, he assumed he had more time for. This isn't regret, it's clarity, the kind that only arrives after you've lived enough life to feel the difference between important and meaningful. Take a moment and sit with this. You start noticing how quickly the years move. You see old photos and realize the people in them aren't guaranteed to be in the next one. You remember conversations you meant to have but postponed. You think of people you miss, not because they're gone, but because life pulled everyone in different directions. Age reveals a truth younger men rarely understand. Connection is the real currency of a man's life. When a man loves with experience instead of impulse, his connection holds a depth that quietly anchors the people around him. A 5-minute phone call with someone you love can lift your entire week. A simple dinner with a good friend can feel richer than years of chasing accomplishments. A quiet moment with someone who understands you can bring more peace than any success you ever hung on a wall. And here's the part older men know deeply. You remember laughter more than status. You remember kindness more than achievements. You remember presence more than performance. Nothing in your life has ever felt meaningful alone. It was always the people who made moments matter. I once spoke to a man in his 70s who said, "I thought I had time, but what I really had were routines." That hits different when you're old enough to know it's true. But here's the uplifting clarity of this chapter. It's not too late. You don't need a dramatic gesture. You don't need to repair everything at once. You don't need to go back in time. You just need to show up now. Text someone you care about. Call the friend you've been meaning to reconnect with. Spend time with the people who make you feel like yourself. Say, "I appreciate you," without overthinking it. Give attention to relationships that actually feed your spirit, because with age comes a quiet gift. You stop loving out of habit and start loving with intention. You become softer in the places that matter. Your patience, your gratitude, your presence. You become stronger in the places that count. Your boundaries, your honesty, your clarity. You don't hide your care behind pride anymore. You don't wait for the right moment. You don't assume people already know how much they mean to you. And strangely, beautifully, your world becomes warmer because you allow yourself to be warmer. This is the moment most men reach in their later years. You understand that the people you walk with matter more than any destination you ever reach. Not everyone will stay. Not everything will last. But the connections you nurture now, the ones with depth, honesty, and presence, those are the moments that outlive you. And when you look back someday, you'll realize something freeing. You never needed more time to make life meaningful. You just needed to use the time you had on the people who matter. Life after 50 isn't a decline. It's an unveiling. You start seeing yourself without the noise, without the pressure, without the expectations that shaped your younger years. You begin to understand what truly matters and what never did. And somewhere in that honesty, something powerful happens. You stop living from memory and start living from clarity. You're not trying to rewind your past. You're trying to honor the man you become. A man who has carried responsibility, showed up when it was hard, held others together when no one held him. A man who has earned his steadiness, not inherited it. So if any part of this journey spoke to you, even one moment, take it as a sign that you're not behind. You're not late. You're not fading. You're refining. You're learning how to put your energy where it belongs. You're choosing what actually feeds your life. You're letting go of what your spirit has outgrown. You're treating your time, your body, your relationships, and your peace with the respect they deserve. And the beauty of this stage is simple. The second half of a man's life can be stronger than the first. Not because it's easier, but because it's real. You know yourself now. You move with intention. You choose with clarity. You care with depth. You stand with a quiet strength younger men won't understand until they get here. So carry this with you. You've earned your wisdom. You've earned your calm. You've earned your perspective. Now it's time to live like it. Walk forward lighter, clearer, and more aligned than you've ever been. If this journey brought you even a moment of clarity, save this video so you can return to it when the road gets heavy. And if more than one moment spoke to you, subscribe. This channel grows with men who move with intention. Your story isn't slowing down. It's finally becoming yours.